Stop 8 is surrounded by a sprawling California buckeye.
And it's the first tree to leaf out in the spring, usually March, early March. And it's the first to lose its leaves. It can lose them in July or August. When I first moved here, I thought there were all these dead trees. And then I found out they were buckeyes.
This tree grows only in California, just a little bit in Oregon. And it's easy to recognize because the leaves look like fingers. They're palmate. It's a compound leaf with 5 leaflets. They get long, white flower stalks that smell great. We've seen up to 20 different species of butterflies visiting the Buckeye. Now, interestingly enough, honeybees come too to visit the flowers, but the nectar and the pollen from this buckeye tree is poisonous to honeybees. They're not native. Later in the year, the tree gets its seed. It's a huge seed. It looks like a deer's eye, a buck's eye looking at you as it falls to the ground. And it's not really edible. It's full of prussic acid. It's what the Native Americans would have to eat if the entire acorn crop failed. And then they'd have to leach it forever. It's just one step above starvation. But what they did use it for, they would grind up the seed pods, toss them in ponds, and use that to stupefy the fish. They would go fishing without a fishing pole.
On the other side of the trail, there's a thorny thicket of blackberries. Behind that are more grapes and a dense stand of trees with long, slender leaves. Those are willows.
The willows are kind of interesting all year. In the springtime, when they flower out, they have the little catkins, the little pussy willows. And people don't realize that willows, they can either be male or female. If it's a yellow flower on the tree, it's a male. That's pollen. And if it's green, it's a female. And they're wind pollinated. And oftentimes, if you look closely at the trunks of the willow trees, you'll notice some scrapings. And you wonder what causes that. Well, one of the things that the willow was used for by Native Americans was as a painkiller. The bark of a willow has salicylic acid, which is one of the things that was first refined to make aspirin. The Native Americans knew that. They would chew on willow bark. Got rid of your headache and gave you a stomach ache. It's a bit strong. They didn't have bufferin back then or anything. But the mule deer here, the bucks, when they get their new antlers every spring, at first they're covered with velvet. And then that velvet begins to peel off. And it's very itchy and uncomfortable. And these bucks deliberately search out willow trees. They rub their antlers against the willow trees, both to get the velvet off and to get that soothing effect of the salicylic acid.
In the spring, this is a hot spot for butterflies.
Not only because of the buckeyes, but partially because of the willow trees. The willow tree happens to be the host tree for the morning cloak butterfly. That's Mourning. And it's kind of a brownish black colored wing with a yellow outline as a mourning cloak that you would wear at a funeral. They're our longest lived butterfly in North America. And overwintering mourning cloak butterfly can live 11 months. That's 2 months longer than the monarch butterfly. And they hunker down in the willow trees. And with some of the warm days of March, they reemerge. So if you catch it just right, you can see the mourning cloak butterflies alight throughout the canyon.
Now head up to stop 9. It's a trail junction with a bench, which might feel pretty good about now.